Hey everybody, how you guys doing? Sorry, a couple minutes late. You know how it is. Um, so yeah, I hope you guys are well. I hope everything's working well for you. Um, hey everybody, how you guys doing? That seems like I got a
Sorry,
buzz
a
here.
couple minutes late.
Okay, so I got a buzz here. What's going on? I don't know why, but that's all right. It's a small buzz. Anyways, let's talk. Um, Not drinking yet. It's not noon yet, so I'm having myself my Tim Hortons steep tea. What? I like it. And no, there's no alcohol in it. I swear, there is none whatsoever. All right, we got a lot to cover today. I've kind of been following this a little bit. The hard thing about this is that if you've known me for over the years, you know that I'm a big fan of this brewery that's having issues. We're talking about Parallel 49 Brewing out of Vancouver, BC. Now, these are one of the guys that I've always really had no issues with. Um, I've not seen anything that's going on here. Granted, I don't live in Vancouver. I have not been there multiple times, and so I don't see all the stuff that's happening. Um, Talking with people that have been following this, there's a few things that some people have been kind of upset with, and understandably so, and there's some that seem to be blown out of proportion in a way. Well, I guess I really can't say blown out of proportion. Um, I think the fact that the what's going on, we're all starting to have our eyes open because we've been home a lot more. Social media has picked up a lot more. And there's a lot more going on in social media. So there's a lot more things coming out via social media to reflect that. Now, I want to remind everybody that there's a lot of things that come out that you need to either take with a grain of salt or even look at in a way that basically you have seen something like this, or that the fact that some of it may be blatantly false. I'm not saying that anything in this thing here is blatantly false. What I am saying is that a grain of salt is always needed when you read anything on the internet. I always joke around that basically if you see it on Facebook, it must be true. Um, and I usually use that when someone goes and announces that they're getting married or it's their birthday or anything else like that. So it's kind of a running but true joke. It's kind of sad that way. That being said, these opinions that I'm going to express are clearly my own. I understand there is a lot going on in this, and I understand it's pissed off a lot of people, and a lot of people are basically still supporting the brewery. So it is a very big split of people who are upset versus people who are going to give the brewery a second chance. They've been around for 7, 8 years now. I don't know. It's been a while. I went out there and when I think it was their third year that they were around. So they've been. I haven't been seeing them in a while. I've had their stuff, and I've always liked their beers. They calmed down after. Well, they've created less beers after the first 4 years because of the fact that they were bringing out a lot of different things. Their barrel age program died down a little bit. They went down from releasing 4 or 5 different barrel aged beers a year down to about two. Um, they have some staple ones that when they sell well, they keep it going. Like Trash Panda was a one of, and then they made it into a seasonal. And then I think they turned it into a year round beer. Um, they've done the advent calendars, which I have supported and actually done myself. Um, but at the same point in time, okay, that was fun. Let's see if this is working again. They've done the advent calendars, which I have supported and actually done myself. Um, but let's see if this is working. At the same point in time, okay, that was fun. Okay, it looks like we're working. Let's see if this is working. Wow. Okay. Um, sorry guys. Okay, it is live. Perfect. Perfect. Sorry, my OBS crashed on me and my monitors went black and came back up and I couldn't get back into OBS and we're back again. I don't know. I don't know. I'm back. I'm just gonna go with that. So thank you, Mercy Beers. Thank you for that. Let's continue, shall we? Okay, we're on the advent calendars where I actually have supported the advent calendars. I found it to be cheaper, more variety, and it actually is one of those ones where I really like. Like I've done 3 years of these advent calendars where they were doing them with Central City, Red Racer, and then they did their own last year. And I had no issues with anybody, and their social media people were on par with things. If I had an issue, they would be right there. They would be offering things. Hey, Rajay, how's it going? Um, so there's a lot of things there that don't really give red flags until now. So I've got some things up here, and there's there's been a lot of mixed emotions, a lot of mixed opinions about what's going on with Parallel 49 out of Vancouver. And I really, 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 really don't know where my loyalty lies right now because there is some stuff where you do have some very, very, very nasty things going on. And there's some where it's like, okay, fine. Um, Yeah, well, it's okay. I'm having tea. I'm having tea here, so I'll be drinking the low alcohol, well, no alcohol here with you, so it's all good, Mercy Beers. So Parallel 49 is in a lot of hot water right now because of the fact that people have now made a Instagram page that is stating there is a lot of shitty things going on within the business from people not being able to work again to people being very, very crude at Christmas parties. Now, the site that I have, and I'll just share this with you guys, is this one here. It is basically the, oops, wrong button, there we go. It is basically No Tour P49. And there's quite a few posts here that's going on in regards to Parallel 49 having some very nasty issues. Um, one of which that caught my attention was this one here. An owner, blank, tried to hook up with one of his employees at a Christmas parties. At a Christmas parties. Okay. Christmas party or at Christmas parties. Did you I'm horrible at English and I even know that's wrong. The staff member was insanely drunk, could barely speak. He was holding her with both arms, one over her shoulder and the other around her waist. It seemed like he was getting to try. It seems like he was trying to get her to leave with him. It seemed. Okay, there. It seemed. You can't. This is all. And was this person? Yeah. Anyways, two other staff members intervened and took her somewhere safe. I was standing with an earshot of if Anthony watching them, and he said something like, "This is a liability and why I don't drink at these things." So, And the comments that are coming out here, St. Augustine's, there are two witnesses. Um, Caroline has tried to take advantage of male staff members too. Um, Worst beer blog. Hearing all this does surprise me. I never worked at Parallel 49, but remember going camping at this quiet lakeside campsite, and there was a site jam-packed with vehicles with the Parallel 49 logo. They all brought dirt bikes and were ripping around on their bikes constantly, disrespecting the other campers as if they owned the entire campground. My girlfriend and I went out on the lake on our floaty, and there was a huge group of them on the lake as well floating around. You can hear voices carrying over the water making fun of us. I held my middle finger up and they all got quiet, eventually paddled back in. You could tell there was a douchey vibe about the place. I love to say I'll stop drinking their beer after hearing this, but the truth is I stopped drinking it years ago because it sucks. Yeah, um, yeah, don't blot out their names. I want to see who they are. Like this is something that was posted 7 days ago. Um, Another one here. I worked at Parallel 49 for 2 years. I was hired as staff about a month before they officially reopened. I was coming from a manager position at another smaller brewery tasting room in Vancouver. Initially, it was a fun job. The staff was amazing, and the manager at the time was awesome. Shout out to Megan. Then the owners started coming around. They were cold and dismissive, like they would routinely cut in front of the huge lines and start barking their orders at us, usually while in the middle of another transaction. And then they walk away. They would also blatantly ignore any pleasantries female staff would. Uh, they would also blatantly ignore any pleasantries female staff would off, but had no issues with laughing and chatting with several male staff members. The behavior they exhibited was appalling. They would frequently come in on Friday/Saturday nights with groups of women half their age or younger and would take them on private tours of their offices upstairs. Then the next morning they would come in with their wives and children for brunches, acting as if nothing happened. It wasn't my place to say anything, but it was disgusting. There's many other examples of their aberrant behavior I could give, but many of the other posts have covered a lot of it. This brings us to the head chef Aubrey, as um, uh, he has to be the most aggressive head chef I have ever met in my 17 years of working in the hospitality industry. He would frequently scream at the kitchen staff in full view of staff and guests. Gordon Ramsay does that too. We received 3 complaints from Gus on guests at least 3 occasions about the abuse he inflicted on the kitchen staff. Personally, one time he came in behind the bar while we had a 3 deep line of guests out the door and screamed at me, "What makes you so fucking special? How dare you change my menu? Fix this shit right now," because I had requested a side of fries instead of soup with my grilled cheese. I had several guests ask if I was okay after witnessing the incident, despite the habitually have complaints lodged against him from staff, especially female staff. The owners never once reprimanded him. He would frequently refer to women as bitches and hoes, even when the women were clearly present and being made to feel incredibly uncomfortable, and most were too scared of him to speak up anyways. Oftentimes, when drinking with the owners after work and making these derogatory remarks about women, the owners would all laugh along and make snide comments on their own. Um, Gordon Ramsay is awesome. Yeah, yeah, he has a no shit attitude. If you're catching up here, I think I'm 30 seconds behind here. So, um, now speaking of their unabashed misogyny, on 2 occasions while I was work, I was groped by intoxicated customers. When I asked the AGM at the time if we could possibly look at the security tape to identify the man who groped me, I was told, well, maybe you shouldn't wear such short shorts, and was told not to bring it up again. The final straw in this repulsive chapter of my life in the span of about 2 months after the former GM left, as one of 2 supervisors who had been there from the start and having come from a manager position, at the last brewery I worked at naturally applied for her vacant position. After interviewing and being told, we'll let you know, a week went by and I found out that the male AGM, the aforementioned one who victim blamed me when I was assaulted at work, was promoted to the GM position, despite having no previous experience aside from the 6 months of working as an AGM. I was upset and took this in stride and continued my supervisor duties, including doing the weekly tip out for the entire FOH/BOH staff. It was after this promotion to the GM that I discovered that this newly appointed GM was being tipped out for the full hours he worked, despite spending maybe 3 to 4 hours a week out on the floor. This didn't sit right with me, so I spoke with him and asked why. If he was now in a salaried position, why is he still being tipped out? He said he didn't put him on a salary position and they were tipping him out in lieu of salary. I went home that night and began to look into BC workers' rates regarding tipping and discovered that, as I suspected, this is not only a morally questionable, but also completely illegal. We had an emergency staff meeting after a slew of unfounded layoffs in the span of a couple of weeks, and during this meeting, I brought us this fact with with the one owner who bothered to come to the meeting with the FOH staff. I clearly stated that they were doing what they were doing was illegal, citing the law verbatim, and then told me, well, he works hard and deserves to be tipped out. When I again stated tipping out as a manager isn't legal if they're not working on the floor, and that GM was spending less than 5 hours a week on the floor, they said that they would reevaluate the situation and the current arrangement. When I came in for my next shift 2 days later, I was immediately pulled into the GM's office and I was told, you seem to be unhappy with your job here, and as such we have decided to let you go. I am skeptical about the legality of this as well, but I was done to try and fight for a job in such a toxic environment. After I found out from his friends that still worked out there that the official reason was given for my termination was she was stealing from the tips and not doing her supervisor job, which is completely untrue and slanderous that they used to cover their wrongdoings. In all, this was the most toxic work environment I have ever had the displeasure of working for, and I am so happy that they are finally being held accountable for these actions. So, yeah, it doesn't sound like this person is making a good environment for the workers, though. You're absolutely correct. Um, there's a lot of things that is going on here. Uh, Now this is one person's account, and like I said, there's a lot. There's absolutely a lot, and some can be a little unfounded because they were let go. They might be just lashing out. Again, I don't know. This could be true. This could be hearsay. This could be anything at this point in time. Now, I understand there's some that have said we have witnessed this, but again, one story that I read and said I possibly think, or I may have. Being that it was a Christmas party, this we're also looking at July, so 7 months ago if it was last Christmas party, or we're looking at what 19 months now if it was a Christmas party before. There's a lot of things that are going on here. No dates or times or date stamps because they don't want to be caught on who they are. These are all anonymous posts. So the thing is some of these people, if they read them, they're not going to know who it is if they were witness to this, if it is true. So they're going to know who said this. Um, like I said, there is a lot going on here. And last time I was there was 6 years ago. And I've always liked Parallel 49, and seeing this, it breaks my heart. It really breaks my heart. Let's go to this one. The general manager, head chefs, and warehouse manager need to step down, take accountability, and issue personal and sincere apologies. A specific timeline outlining your action plan made public, which I will get to in a minute. Clearly outlined company policy for all departments. Employees paid Vancouver livable wages. Vancouver livable wages are high. If they do that, they're going to be one of the most highly paid servers and whatnot, and bar staff and restaurant staff in the city, I do believe. But there's some other ones that do this, so it could be doable. And the amount of money that they make, you know. Specific and thorough training plans which sets each employee up for success. A lot of places don't do that. You have to work hard yourself to do that. They give you guidelines to follow, so that would be a good thing. Owners' roles and responsibilities must be described and made public to ensure transparency. But they're not a union. But now we have a union that protects all employees. So they want to be unionized. How many breweries do you know that are unionized? The ones that are bigger might be like, oh, let's go Big Rock. I think they might be unionized. No, I think they're public trading. So I don't even know if they're unionized. I don't think they are. All employees who have had money deducted from their pay without consent will be compensated for what was taken. Now, again, working for as many years as I have to say that if you break something, you bought it. We were told this a lot. And if you break a lot of things, you start to have to look at paying it out of your own wage. If you broke it. Like if someone turns around, breaks a dozen glasses while serving people in a week, for example, you know that there's A, issues with the person carrying something, and B, there might be something that needs to be addressed. How do you address that? You can talk to them. Okay, but they still do it. How's the next step? We're going to have to take this out of your wages now because you're starting to cost us money. And then maybe they won't. If they still do, guess what? I'm sorry, but we have to let you go. You're not helping us out. You're having some issues here, whatever else. That I honestly, you know, it all comes down to why the money was deducted from their pay without consent. And if it was done it without their consent, they need to, well, if they're told this is why, is it really not their consent? It's not their choice to give consent? Like there's a lot of different, there's some things here that I need to sort of why. External audits should be conducted at both establishments. This I do not disagree with. Sorry. Every year, indefinitely, you will donate $5,000 to a local LGBTQIA2 plus charity and $5,000 to a local bio BIPOC charity. I don't even know what charity that is. Both of it which will be selected by the employees. I get where they're going with this. I really do. But there's thousands of charities out there. This seems very straightforward. Now, again, I've not read all the stuff that's in here. So there might be some reasons for seeing this. Because there might be some different things that are in the stories that are doing it. I mean, you can also, yeah, like cancer foundations and whatnot too. Until all owners complete sensitivity and management training, they should not frequent either establishment or interact directly with employees. Yeah, I'm the way things are looking, that might be a good idea. To all owners and management, we acknowledge your apology but want to make it clear that this is only the beginning of an ongoing work and change that needs to occur. Although you have identified a course of action that will hopefully result in creating a safe, healthy, and positive workspace, we need immediate action. You have had many years to identify and resolve the problems that have been brought up, but instead you have turned away and punished those who tried to make a difference. The general manager, head chefs, and warehouse manager need to step down, take accountability, and issue personal and sincere apologies. There. We need specific timelines outlining your mentioned action plan in order to ensure accountability. This needs to be made public so that progress can be monitored. If it's within a business, it doesn't need to be made fully public. There should be some things that should be made public, but not everything. Come on now. Oh boy. There needs to be clearly outlined company policy that describes in detail what the rules and regulations are and what disciplinary actions may follow if they are not met. These include, but not limited to, describing and protecting the rights of all employees, integrating diversity into hiring practices. Again, I haven't read through all of this, so that might be an issue. There was that one lady that didn't get hired for her position because the assistant general manager got promoted. But there are some issues morally with that. But again, who knows? Um, Diversity into hiring practices and implementing an external HR team that will be for the benefit of employees. Employees should be paid Vancouver livable wages. There must be policies in place that disallow any form of discrimination in employee compensation. There also needs to be a set policy for inclusive uniforms at both Parallel 49 and St. Augustine's, meaning any and all sizes should be made available, and they must be non-exploitative. You know, I'm just going with. Yeah, can't show breasts. You can't show pectoral muscles or have it really tight. Okay, I get. And short skirts bad, which is understandable. Um, It is understandable for that. They're not a place like Hooters, for example, that do that. They're a brewery. By the way, I am still keeping an eye on the chat, so if you guys have anything to say, by all means. You need to develop clear and thorough training plans that are specific to various positions within the company and which sets each employee up for success. All positions, including owners, various roles, and responsibilities, must be described and made public to ensure transparency. Okay, I'm just going to continue. I've got nothing to say on that. A union protects all its employees and maintains a safe work environment is essential. Again, there's not many breweries out there that are unionized. If you guys can think of any, please put them in the comments because I personally cannot. Regarding St. Augustine's, all employees who have had money deducted from their pay without consent will be compensated for what was taken. External audits should be conducted at both Parallel 49 Brewing and St. Augustine's. Again, have not read into why because there is a ton of stuff here. We will continue to seek compensation for all who were wrongfully fired / laid off / forced to quit, open to all experiences that were shared accordingly. Your company has profited off racial exploitation and mistreating employees, and it's time to rate your wrongdoings every year, as I said. So there's some things in here, obviously, that have stated that. Granted, there's a lot of things going on here. You now have the responsibility to become a more diverse, inclusive, and safe workplace. Until all owners complete your sensitivity and management training, they should not frequent either establishment or interact directly with employees. If this requires interrupting or closing the business, all employees will be paid in full for their scheduled shifts. I get where they're going. I get where they're going, but here we're in the middle of a fucking pandemic here. I am looking at this going, yes, there's some valid things here, and this is done by the No Tour Parallel 49 group. We have emailed privately and have not had a response. These bullet points to summarize our letter and following slides our entire letter in order to ensure transparency and accountability. Okay. Now, I get where they're going with this. I really, really do. But they're not a union that I know of. They're acting on behalf of the people that have been wrongfully dismissed or treated badly or anything else like that. And some of these allegations could very well be true. I can't say because I haven't been there, so I don't know. But that almost kind of also read like a ransom letter. If you do not do this, we're going to do this. And I get where they're going with this, but this is almost like a ransom letter. Like this. I having transparency is one thing. Trying to deal with this matter privately with people who are not mentioned in any of these are all anonymous. They're like, I'm sorry. Like I'm trying to understand this. I really, really am, and I'm kind of at a loss of words here. I get where they're going with this. I really, really do, and I understand what they're trying to do, but it's it's honestly like some of this stuff is kind of reading like a list of demands, which is one thing, but that's also it kind of reminds me of a ransom letter. It really does. This is what you will do if you do not. I mean, if this is the case, then shouldn't the police be brought in? If there's all these things that have gone on, there's a portion of me that sort of goes, isn't this partially a hate crime too? And if it's a hate crime, why haven't the police been brought in? Like there's granted, my thoughts are all over the place on this, and this is just their side. This is just what's going on, and there's a lot of shitty things going on here. If this is the case, don't get me wrong. I'm not defending Parallel 49 whatsoever. I'm looking at this as a impartial person here. Um, like there's a lot there. If you guys go to this and read through it, I know you will make your own judgment. And there's a lot of people that are, like I said, they're pissed off. And there's some people that are giving Parallel 49 a second chance. And here's why. Let me just do something here, and we'll go from there. Oh, this has gone on for a bit, and this I knew this was going to be a heavy one. All right, we're looking at Parallel 49. Oops. And this is what we have for Parallel 49. So when this all started, Parallel 49 came back with their own. We were recently made aware of an Instagram account that includes personal anecdotes of current and former staff members about mistreatment and inappropriate conduct by ownership and fellow employees. We are saddened to what we have read, and more importantly, saddened by the employees it have endured. And for this, we sincerely apologize. But some of these are showing that you already knew about this. I mean, you can see the comment over the side here. This is not enough. And people are going, yep, this doesn't change. Like yeah. As owners, we take full responsibility and make no excuses. We failed to provide a respectable and inclusive working environment, and this has caused pain. Our ownership group has tried to build our brewery based on the values of respect, teamwork, customer service, and product quality. But obviously, we have not lived up to these key tenets. For this, we're disappointed in ourselves, and we want to thank No Tour P49 current and former staff members, along with members of the community who have bravely brought their personal experiences to light as they are not consistent with our core values. Of course, this is not good enough to simply acknowledge these serious issues, and our ownership group is taking steps that will ensure a respectful and inclusive work environment. This starts with a development action plan that includes hiring an HR professional to deliver a higher level of support to employees. Sensitivity and management training for all levels of management, including our ownership group, working with staff to identify and address areas which workplace culture does not reflect our key values, exploring a partnership with LGBTQ+ and BIPOC communities to fund, develop, and enforce a program for owners, employees, and customers. So they are doing that. I mean, that's what they're striving to look at. They did acknowledge it. So there is issues. The action plan that will be a living document that will identify actions and status of progress and updated employees policy will be posted on our website. Okay, so they are trying to make this public. So they're going with what needs to be done. There's no undoing the past, but we hope that a series of actions and a sincere commitment to create a better workplace culture. We can create better experiences for the current and future employees and patrons. That was in a 2-page rebuttal, I guess. Next up. Ah, boy. There's a lot. There's a lot to take in. To our employees, our partners, our patrons, and community, thank you for keeping us accountable and sharing experiences about your interactions with our brewery. As previously stated, we take full responsibility for our actions, but we also intend to take term action to heart. We heard many of you express the desire for us to be transparent and clear in terms of our actions. We agree with you. This is why we wanted to provide a progress update to share with you what we've accomplished to date to ensure and implement change our current environment, which we hope to impact our future environment. And this was 4 days. 4 days later, they did this. Yes, 4 days later. So yesterday they put this out. Action. We will work with staff to identify and address areas where workplace culture does not reflect our fundamental values. Reaction. We have partnered with a respected HR consulting company, the Neutral Zone Coaching and Consulting Services, and asked them to audit our business and report their findings on the state of our internal culture, which they should have had someone come in secretly and do this, because report is going to be a little bit different than it is going to be now, because they've addressed this and HR is coming in, so be on your best behavior, and everybody acts like golden school children instead of the frat house party that's apparently going on there. Since conducting the workplace climate assessment, Neutral Zone can attest that the owners of Parallel 49 have engaged the Neutral Coaching Zone and Consulting Services Incorporated to conduct a workspace climate assessment in response to allegations of misconduct, including racist, homophobic, transphobic, misogynist, and bullying attitudes and practices. Initial interviews with current staff indicate that most have neither observed or experienced this type of misconduct and alleged on social media. PA Brew News, how you doing? Welcome to the party. Can you just pass me a beer instead, tampons? Folks, I'm going to let the comments go on this. Don't worry about it. If they want to say something, they can. A lot of these things, this is how it happens, but that's okay. So, employees, at Parallel 49 have, however, expressed concerns regarding various managerial practices, policies and procedures, and communication breakdowns. So there is a issue here, but not everything that they've seen or that's been reported. So there is some things here. The owners and leadership of Team Parallel 49 are taking prompt action to ensure that going forward all concerns are addressed through improved training, consistent coaching, and implementation of best HR practices, as recommended by the Neutral Zone. We are committed to continuing to work with the Neutral Zone and other third parties to address these findings. In addition to this, we have implemented an anonymous feedback form where employees can share. Sorry, I just got a message here. Saturday, never too early for a beer on Saturday. You're absolutely right. Okay. So, we are committed to, and just those we have implemented an anonymous feedback form where employees can share their experiences about workplace culture in a safe environment. It may be anonymous, but people still don't feel safe when you do that. If you did a third party where they can report it, they might. They absolutely might. And even though you brought in an HR thing, you should bring in someone for the employees only, where the owners, management, and everybody else can't see it, so they feel a little bit safer going to them. What's gone on over the last little bit, there might be issues where people are afraid to talk. It's going to happen. It really is. With all these things that have happened on this other page, there's going to be a lot of fear out there where people are like, I'm not touching it. I'm not going near this. But if you brought in a third party just for the employees, you might hear a little different story of things that are going on. This might be something that you could possibly work on. Just throwing that out there. Action. Secure and hire HR professional to deliver a higher level of support for employees and facilitate ongoing employee engagement. We are in the process of interviewing the position of a full-time HR manager to support employees. They will be tasked with improving our corporate policy for the company and will hold all employees, management, and owners accountable. Future updates will share these policies to ensure transparency. Action. Explore a valid partnership with the communities and not only better learn but fund, develop, and enforce a program for owners, employees, and customers. Reaction. The team has secured a partnership with Ren Navarro, beerdiversity.com, from Beer Diversity to build out an action plan for management and the company as we work towards achieving a diverse and inclusive environment. We've met with Ren and are working to build her team working with her team to build out an action plan, and we are excited to roll out. Well, that's one thing. Okay, perfect. So they are taking accountability for some of this stuff by doing these action plans. They are trying. So this is something that's this is what people wanted to see. And some people out there are like, this isn't good enough. Sorry, done. You have a lot of things happening in the past, and yes, it took social media for them to come through on this. Let's continue, shall we? Action, sensitivity, and management training are all levels of management, including our ownership group. Reaction, we have engaged the Neutral Zone to create and administer training programs specific to our organization's needs. We understand this is not a one-size-fits-all approach, and we look forward to learning about the current gaps in our workplace and constructive ways we can address it. But it sounds like it was a one-size-fits-all approach for some of the stuff beforehand. Again, I don't know when, where all these things took place. I haven't read through all the stuff, so it could be as current as yesterday. It could be as current as months ago. We understand where, let's see. We understand that while these actions are our reactions are a big step towards our organization it will be a journey for us. We are committed to doing better and being better for our employees, patrons, and greater community. Change is necessary. Accountability is important. Please know we are committed to this and hope these actions demonstrate our commitment to change. So, yeah, there's that. You do realize all this political rhetoric that they just do, they do just to circumnavigate and nullify the changes of legal issues. That doesn't mean anything will actually change. You're absolutely correct on that. You are so correct on that, and I get that. I really do. Um, this 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 is seems like it is a blanket statement to appease the masses, to make sure that this other group, the No Parallel 49 group, or no, you know what I'm saying. Um, Paul, your ever positive attitude. Actually, he's not wrong. He's not wrong at all. He's it's something that may actually it might not change. It hasn't changed in years with people coming up to the management and saying there's some issues. It hasn't changed until this showed up and it pretty much came to light. Like this is a big thing. Like this is something that Parallel 49, which is a big brewery up here. It's it's something that basically looking at this going, okay, yes, there's issues. Yes, we've read all these things on this other Instagram page and the email that you've sent, and we are working at this. I want to see if this is the transparency that's going on. I want to see what happens in the next couple of months. This is not an overnight fix. This is a long-term fix. And the one that really bugged me, I think, the most was to close down the stores and not let the owners into there until they've completed this training. You can't do that. That will kill the business right there. That will destroy the business right there. And during the COVID that we've got going on, during this pandemic that we got going on, and probably hopefully YouTube didn't catch that word. Um, there's a lot of things that just basically, yeah, it's a big deal that's going on here, and I feel for all the patrons, all the people that have issues here. Um, there's a lot of things that, like I said, there's a ton of posts. Like how many posts we have here? 44 posts that have shown up. One of which is their letter to Parallel 49. These all have shown up here, and some of them are multi-pictured posts too. Like this is it's yeah. I don't know what's gonna happen with Parallel 49. Um, and the hard part about this is they also contract brew as well. So there's people that contract brew out of there, like Boombox does. And I hope that they are not involved in this as well. I hope that they are not having issues with this as well too. Again, I'm being completely honest in saying I haven't read through all of these because some of these I read and I'm like I'm disgusted with this. I can't. Part of me feels bad. Well, a big part of me feels bad for these people that are going through all this. Hang on, I've got one here. Okay. I'm going to read another one though. Oh, shoot. Wrong one. Let's go over here. Where is it? There we go. It's taken me a while for me to find the words for this post, but here it is. I worked at Parallel 49 from March 2018 to April 2019, so over a year ago. I started as a server during my time, and there I was promoted twice. First to pack lead, call it inventory management, and then to assistant manager. During that time, I worked under 3 different general managers before eventually being fired myself. The first 6 months of my employment, I did not have much of an idea as to what was going on around me. Work was always busy, but I worked with some really great people and had a very enjoyable first summer there. It wasn't until I was promoted to general manager and given the glimpse behind the curtain that I began to realize there was a couple of deeply troubling issues concerning how Parallel 49 was run. At this point, before continuing, I would like to mention that the comments made about the assistant general manager on another post of this page do not reference me. I was promoted after this occurred. First, I'll address the culture of firings. Over the duration of my employment there, I was personally aware of over 20 firings. It became apparent that you could be fired for anything at any time, as most people that were fired were given severance. As I understand it, in the province of BC, if you pay someone an amount of severance when firing them, you protect yourself from potential legal repercussions. And in Alberta, they call that letting them go without cause. I've had that happen a few times myself, given my severance and being let go without cause. I was allowed to find out the cause later on if I wanted to, but I was too upset to even go and ask, so I let it be. An employee that worked in the warehouse was let go after his 3-month trial period for having audacity to ask for shift breaks during a 12-hour warehouse shift. One employee was fired for expressing concerns in an email regarding a sudden and poorly implemented change to the tipping procedure. And that was mentioned before in one of the other ones that I had. Hey Shibby, how's it going? I'll get to the comments in just a minute. I'm going to go through this. Looks like it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 pages long. Another employee was fired for being 5 minutes late after essentially being set up to fail. She was struggling with her mental health and unnecessary and undue stress she was being piled on her in what now appears to be an obvious attempt to get her to leave. I myself was before I was fired was asked to watch her like a hawk. Again, this is one side of the story, but yeah. So this could be something that happens. Another employee was fired for asking an off-duty cop to take off his "Make America Great Again" America Great Again. This same cop and his entire party later chased said employee out of the restaurant later on in the night after a confrontation, smashing glasses and causing a massive scene. She was fired immediately the next day with no discussion and no severance. It was also transpired that one of the party was a personal friend of one of the owners. Numerous people were fired for attempting to form a union. I'm sorry, Paul. I am really sorry. I'm trying in my best voice too. Another person was hounded and fired in a similar way to the aforementioned employee above because of the evident anti-trans and anti-queer sentiment established by the ownership. The official line was poor work ethic, but that was preposterous. And there were other staff members with questionable work ethic that were never disciplined. Yet the one non-binary person they had working in the front house was personally signaled out by the owners, who made sure the manager was persistently on them. There were more, but these ones especially stood out to me. Next, I'll address Aubrey Pingator, the misogynist head chef whose name they proudly boast on the web page advertising their street kitchen initially. My relationship with Audrey was pretty friendly, cordial, but that changed after my promotion to assistant manager. A number of my female coworkers started to reach out to me about how Aubrey would treat them differently to their male counterparts. I compiled a document of complaints from 5 different front of house employees, all female, submitted these in a meeting between myself, the current manager, and, at the time, one of the owners. and assured steps would be taken to address this behavior. Nothing happened. It seemed with Audrey it did not matter how he behaved towards customers or staff, he could do no wrong in the eyes of the owners. His general bad temperament also caused customer complaints on a couple of occasions, but this did not appear to matter. Aubrey was the exception to the rule of firing. I guess in retrospect, this isn't surprising. He was, and still probably is, close with the owners, and one time he won an award at a Science World event for making a tiny cheeseburger. So that was eventually more important to the owners than things like moral standards. Despite the numerous problems concerning Aubrey, the reasons that him and people like him continued to have employment at Parallel 49 is because of an echo culture of misogyny. Trans, queer, and you know what I'm saying here. I'm going to skip that word. And cultural racism. I've been reading a lot. That is the bedrock of Parallel 49's operating procedure. You need to look no further than some of the names of their beers and evidence of this. Most apparent example of a beer was called Seed Spitter, an artwork for which was a grinning man with a piece of watermelon lodged in his mouth, a direct reference to a disgusting racial slur used to describe black people. Any challenge to this culture, be it moral objection or disobedience, is met with swift and brutal repercussions. The owners themselves often escape or avoid criticism with a strength in numbers tactic. 6 people unanimously grouped together as a collective are much harder to criticize than 6 individuals. As to the individual nature of each owners, I do not know them individually enough to comment. It seems that a couple of them were much more problematic than others, but this is irrelevant. Parallel 49 in its current form is a direct result of their united vision. Anyone who perceived threat or problem in regards to their income is purged. I myself was eventually fired with severance after being overly vocal about Aubrey's behavior to Caroline, or rather, I assume this is why I was fired. It was never actually explained to me. Ironically, the person who was given the lead to fire me was Aubrey himself, despite having no authority over me and being from a different department of the restaurant. I suspect this is something he probably relished and perhaps even requested. Finally, I'll mention Caroline. I never actually experienced working under her fully, as I was fired pretty much as soon as her manager training was finished. I never got to know her, so I will leave others to tell that story. I will say, though, that after I was fired, immediately emailed her requesting a written reference for my employment at Parallel 49, which she provided. When the next employer got in contact with the manager of Parallel 49 for a verbal reference, she refused to give me one, which is essentially the legal equivalent in BC of your ex-employer telling your prospective future employer that you should not be hired. I have absolutely no idea why she chose to seemingly maliciously damage my character in a manner that was entirely consistent with my work ethic and relationship, or lack thereof, with her. I've heard no small amount of horror stories about her, so I suppose I shouldn't be surprised. There's a lot, again, to take in with just that one. Yeah, there's stuff in there that I can see why this is going on. There's stuff in there that basically, you know, if you get fired, from a job, like, if you get fired from a job, you get let go or anything else like that, and you ask for a reference, that's kind of on you. I'll put it out there. That's kind of on you. Um, I personal experience for myself. I've been let go, And I've had people ask me, can I talk to your previous employer? And I'd be like, unfortunately, due to the circumstances, I'm not allowed to. They refuse to. Or I don't want to. Because there are some issues between everybody. Now, what this person had, um, yeah, what this person had is like again, there's a lot to unpack here. There's actual things that she's said that she has evidence to, like written up statements from different people. That is a witness account, but it's one that really wasn't taken by the ownership or management seriously. So they looked at possibly working on exiting stage left for her. Again, this is all a lot of hearsay. This is accountable stuff for some of it, but some of it is sort of like, well, okay, you got fired and you asked for a reference from someone who doesn't know you and you don't know them. Right there, that's something. Unless this is your first job, that's yeah. And if you got fired or let go, you know, something happens. And if they call you up, so, oh yeah, you can use that. There should have been warning flags when they said yes, you can use me as a reference. Um, and maybe they were being sincere at the very beginning. They felt bad for you being let go. But at the same point in time, you had an issue here where you didn't know the person, and maybe the owners turned around and said, don't give her any references whatsoever. You now have her position because of what's going on. This looks like they were training this other person to take over her position in a way because she's doing management training. So that's kind of looked like what was going on. And yeah, yeah, there's a lot to take in. Um, with all these accounts and everything else like that, there's a lot. Parallel 49 has a lot of work to do with all these allegations. And getting to the comments here. Sorry, it's been a bit. Let's get back to the comments here. The corporate mentality in this in the college degree mindless speech that the Crow barred into every business, no matter what size or type. And that's what Parallel 49 did. They pretty much did a blanket statement saying we're sorry. This is what, and I bet you anything, their legal team said, look, this is what you can do, this is what you can say, this is what you can't say, keep it short, keep it brief, but keep it in a way that may appeal to the masses. They probably have a legal team on this right now that we don't know about. There's a lot of things probably going on in the background that we don't know about. So, and it's one of those things here. Um, Next comment we've got here is it's just how corporate react no matter. At what point did you hear an individual and carrying statement from a business that office in that statement? They're saving themselves in a public domain, and unfortunately, this is the way that business works. This is the way that things work because there's a lot of shit going on in the background, as I just mentioned. Um, so yeah, this is reminding me of the founder situation from Shibby. By the way, hey Shibby, how you doing? Yes, it is remind me of the founder situation, big time. The Canada version of the founder situation. And unfortunately, it's causing me to not want to have their beers. Unfortunately, this is really hard to fathom to, but I'll try my best. Thank you for making a lighthearted comment on that. That was yeah. um, I love how this people are all made out of innocent victims. I can guarantee we are not getting the whole stories 100%. And that's the truth. We're not getting the full story. We're not getting the full story from either side right now. There's a lot that's going on here, a lot to unpackage, a lot to see. And yes, more people are coming out to step up about this. This is something that's happening right here, right now, and a lot of people are stepping up to this. And I do think that the person that made this Instagram page, are they doing the right thing? Yeah, okay, they possibly are, because it probably, if it is, it needed to be said. It needed to be shown. It needed to be noticed. I'm not denying that. I'm not denying that whatsoever. I mean, again, I don't know personally because I'm not there. I haven't been on the front lines. I couldn't tell you. I'm just reporting what we see on the internet, which may or may not be true. Who knows? Um, At my old job, I watch people get fired because it's Tuesday. Absolutely no severance pay, just go. Get your shit and get out. And I'm sure a lot of places do that. And yeah, I I can see that they probably did that. So and that happens. I've seen 3 dozen people in 1 month get in 1 month easy get fired. You know, if a boss has a bad day and you get in the way, there could be possibilities of that. You're also down the States. The laws are a little different down there than up here. So, yeah, there's that. I got fired, and this, in quotations, and this was all spoken out loud. The black corporate, the black operate fucked up bad. We went to the bosses. He literally said, "If you fire me, I'll get you for racism." Then they said, "We have to fire someone." And then they said, "We have to fire someone." Yeah. Uh, uh, and that's a tough one. I want to say, yeah. I'm gonna continue on with that. So they have me. So they have me the sorry son. It's you. It was fantastic. I made a little bit of a mess of the place on the way out. It was just pure magic. The job was shit anyways. They did me a favor. Yep, I can see that. I can see that there are places out there that do this. It happens. It really does. And again, I'm not saying that this did not happen. I'm saying that this probably did happen because if you read in the statements that Parallel 49 stated, they're owning up to a lot of this stuff. They are actually owning up to this because they're saying this is what we're doing, this is what we're doing, this is what we're doing, this is what we're doing. They did not mention a union though. If you noticed in that statement, they did not mention a union. So they're not even entertaining that. There's a couple other things that they're not stating as well. So Parallel 49 is taking accountability for a lot of the stuff that's on here. And that saddens me. It really does sadden me because it's tough to see. It really is. I've been at my fair share of Christmas parties for corporate events, and they do tell you to be on your best behavior, but it is an open bar. Yeah. So what it being an open bar, you will have a lot of drunk people, and being people that are drunk, there's going to be a lot of things that happen where you wake up going, "What the fuck did I do?" And I mean, the one story that I read earlier, I can see that happening, but I don't. But again, they said it appeared that the owner was trying to do this. They did not say that's exactly what the owner was trying to do. Again, I've worked at a company where they had a zero tolerance for other things, for at the point in time illegal substances, and people found out, and the management found out that during the Christmas party this happened. They're gone. They were no longer working for the company. They told them, they set a line, they set a boundary. It happened. They're done. So that was totally understandable. It's like seeing stuff like that. That's where that defines a good business and a bad business. If they sit there and say, okay, we're asking you to behave yourself during a Christmas party. Yes, we're opening up the bar. Yes, you have free food at this time. Yes, this is a family event because you're allowed to bring your family. So please be on your best behavior. These are the list of rules that you can't cross. You cross them, you're gone. But have fun. Have fun. Stay within the limit and do it. And that's what people did. It was great to see. Um, but I mean, that's and it's like if you want to do this, here's the price for this, here's the price for this, and they give you prices for things too. And it was one of those things where it was great to go out and let loose after a long year, but maintain the fact that you're in a family environment. I brought my kids to the events a couple of times, and I kept as an adult doing what I could, and there was some times where I didn't bring my kids, and then I was being an adult, letting myself go for a little bit, but staying within my limit. Um, back to the things here. Always wanted to see the naked sex party drunk chaos Christmas parties, but all the ones I went to were boring. I got robbed, son. Yep, yeah, you did. Yeah, you did. Unfortunately, some of those movies out there just aren't portraying it properly enough, I think. Uh, there's I like I said, I want to see what happens over the next few months with this. I've gone on for an hour about this, an hour and 15 minutes about this, and I really hope that Parallel 49 does do better. I loved their tour. They gave me an awesome tour when I went there 6 years ago. They knew I was coming. They said graciously brought me in. They fed me a couple of beers and said, "Here, we'll give you a tour. Ask whatever you want. Here's all the stuff." And then I left with a couple of extra stuff, with a few great beers from them. They had a great nitro program where I couldn't get Left Hand Brewing's nitro up here, so my first experience was Parallel 49's nitro beer in a glass. It was great. I really liked it. I really, really liked it. Um, so to read this, it kind of saddens me. It really does because they've always been great to me. The marketing folks have been wonderful. The social media people that have answered my questions have been wonderful. And I'm saddened to see that there's some really shitty things inside this company. I personally will probably not be buying any Parallel 49 things anytime soon. Um, and I know that a while ago, because of the Christmas calendar I had, there was a beer in there that wasn't right. They offered me to go and pick out a six pack, buy it, and give them the receipt, and they would reimburse me. I graciously turned them down on that, and I never took them up on that. But they've always treated me great. Like they've personally have helped me out because I spend my money on their beers. I personally have done like hung around with some of the people at beer fests and stuff and chatted with them and had a good time and never knew that something like this was happening behind the scenes. If I knew this, this would have been a different story that I'd be telling at this point in time. I probably wouldn't have had said a lot of great things over the years. I probably would have quietly backed them out of my repertoire and sort of removed it and done a different Christmas calendar last year or anything else like that. Like these allegations that have come out is not easy to see. Paul with a comment here: forcing a business to close because of some feeble social agenda will actually only hurts the floor level individuals that will work there, raise their families of that and and raise their families of that pay. It's true. Corporations make their money regardless. This is also true. They do. And when Parallel 49 first started was when I went to go see Parallel 49, they were already in 11 states. They were across 4 provinces. They were really had this huge warehouse in another building of beer that they're ready to ship out. They had a wall of barrels for their barrel aged program. They were established. They still are established. This is Parallel 49 we're talking about. They've cut down some of their core beers to make it a little bit more accessible for people to have. Their Trash Panda comes out here every single year, or now I think it's a yearly one. Um, they've got some great beers that have actually made some progress. Again, their Christmas calendar was great. I really liked it. Um, I liked the ones beforehand. I liked the ones. Some of my favorite beers came from Parallel 49. Tukes of Hazard. And yes, Tukes of Hazard with a Confederate flag on it, nonetheless. Um, yeah, at least I think so. Let me double check on this. Let me double check on this. Images. Oh no, there wasn't a Confederate flag. My bad. It just reminded me of it. So, um, yeah. There's our Tukes of Hazard. That was a great Christmas IPA. Like so the other one that they're talking about. There's not many images on this. Yeah, splitter, like right there. Um, there. That's. But I mean, like, look at these other ones. How many seed spitter? There's another one. There's yeah, Taboo Brewing Company spitter. Like, I just. uh, yep. Trash Panda? That's spacious. Shut him down. I don't care what the flag. I don't care what flag. Shut him down. Short shorts. Shut them down. That beer is in a brown bottle. I'm offended. Shut him down. These are comments from PA Brew News. It's just yeah. I mean, like the. What's this? Nope. Yeah, Seed World. Okay. Cool. I just there's some stuff. Like all right, let's look at this one. Ruby Tears used to be called. Guess what? Guess what it used to be called beforehand. Here we go. So they changed the name on this Ruby Tears because of this. So they changed it to Ruby Tears. But yes, it used to be called Gypsy Tears Ruby Ale. Okay, now I can see that one. Okay, that one I can see, but they changed the name. Cowboy Crusher, that is Parallel 49 and Trolley 5. Filthy Dirty IPA. Jerk Face 5000. Tears of a Hooker. Yeah, no, it wasn't called Tears of a Hooker. Like, there's all these names are so different. Trifecta, triple hopped. Lost Souls, Salty Scott, Little Red, Sour Cherry. Like a lot of these beers I have had. 187 on a undercover hop. Like I've had these. Like Ricky Gervais even went and said that his favorite beer is made from BC, and it's Ruby Tears. I guess there's just gypsies roaming the land being offended by breweries that they've never heard of. Oh, God. Well, that's the thing. Are we not allowed saying, well, yeah, because what do we also used to call breweries like Evil Twin? They were a gypsy brewery. That's what we called them. We're not allowed to now, and I'm sorry for using that word again. Gypsies have been known to be a little bit hookery. Just ask Cher. Okay, I'm. Yeah, ooh, gray line, gray line. It's just like yeah. Honestly, folks, there's a lot of things that have been going on here. The Russian Imperial Stout was one of the best ones I've had in a very long time. That was one of my favorites. Yeah, I've got like that's the thing is there's a lot here. There's a lot to unpack, and I really hope whatever happens with Parallel 49 that it happens. I really wish them the best. I personally will not be putting them in my repertoire anymore, just like Founders is not in my repertoire anymore. Um, I'm sorry, Parallel 49, but honestly, until all this blows over, which is not going to because this is something that's been going on for years, and didn't know we weren't allowed to say Gypsy Brewery. When did that happen? The word gypsy is I don't the word gypsy now is very questionable. That's I at least that's what I've been told. I'm just going with what the public tells me because I don't want to get in trouble for stuff. So yeah, there's that. So we're going to move on from that. The other thing I have is I just want to say Calgary Drivers suck. Now the reason for this is last night we were hit with a major thunderstorm. Um, we were hit with one that just basically it's smoked us. And I posted stuff on my social media that there was a great big thundercloud overhead when I was going to pick up my wife. And I knew it was big because I was listening to the rumbles. I was going to pick her up. Those rumbles were not stopping. They were constant. They're big, they're loud, and they just kept going. And I knew that we were going to be hit by it. So I went and picked up my wife and we hustled back to our house as fast as we could. Now, the thing is when we get some storms, if you haven't seen the news last month or the month before, I guess it was last month, we got hit hard by a hailstorm in the Northeast. It destroyed the sidings of buildings. It demolished glass in vehicles. It dented the hell out of it. And it was in the north. I live in the south, so watching that was brutal. It was I think they said four, no, I think it was up to $1 billion in damage. Between $1 billion and $4 billion in damage. And it was the fourth largest costing act of nature that happened in Canada. The fourth largest. So people got scared during that time. And then a little bit later on, we got a tornado warning. And when we got that tornado warning, there was people that were literally stopping in the highway underneath overpasses. Not giving a fuck about the people behind them. I just don't know. I really don't know. This is something that kind of made me shake my head. You don't stop on a highway. You don't sit there and have a me first fucking moment when there's people behind you trying to get home as well. You have an issue, you pull off to the side of the road where there's shoulders, and if you can't, you find a spot somewhere else up the road as quick as you can. Plain and simple. Thinking that the news covered this last week, the week before, you think people would learn. No, they did not. Driving home, just about there, going down this one road and hearing these pings off of my roof. I shouldn't say pings, they're more like bangs. There was some good sized hail forming and starting to drop. Coming around the corner onto this one road, there's a pedestrian bridge 200 meters in front of me. Pedestrian bridge is 5 feet wide. At best. And there in the road is people stopped under this pedestrian bridge. I'm trying to find a lane that people will actually fucking move while I'm hearing a couple more pings off of my roof. It took them a bit, but they finally moved. It was slow going, but they finally moved. Because the pings slowed down off my roof and more rain came. So people were like, well, let's go now. We got a moment. And there was blue sky ahead of me coming my way. So if I drive this way, these nice clouds coming this way, I'm getting out of it. As is everybody else. But yes, people don't learn. People are morons. That's absolutely true. So we had to stop. There it is, right there. And I will read that. So what you're saying is a self-centered person decided to use the bridge coverage from the hail, neglecting the safety of anyone else on the road. And we're going 80 kilometers an hour. Not quite sure what that translates to in miles per hour. I don't feel like doing the math or pulling up a calculator right now. But yes, that's exactly what I'm saying. So I got frustrated. My wife, thankfully, took a picture while I was driving because, no things. If you really look across the nation of America and Canada, self-centered actions with no sacrifice for anything else is one of the number one problems we are facing. And it's true. And this is why I'm bringing this up, because this shit needs to stop. This is just a small little portion in it, but still. They all stopped on the road, and they finally went when it started to rain. And then I noticed, I went through the light, and then I started to hear the pinging again off the roof of my vehicle. I moved over to a lane that I had a clear path because I knew if I didn't, the people beside me or in front of me were going to stop under the next pedestrian bridge, which was another 200 meters in front of me, or 300 feet, whatever. Um, and 50 miles per hour. Thank you. And it's just, yeah. I, my wife was like, okay, if we have to pull over, you'll pull over to the side of the road. I'm like, for sure. No problems, no questions asked. Because we're hearing these hail things bounce off of our windshield, and they were making some solid noises. I was waiting for either the windshield to spider out, crack, or anything else like that. But I was also concentrating on getting home at a safe speed, but still getting home because if you're going 80 kilometers an hour and there's a tennis ball coming at you, you're going to have something. If you slow down a little bit but still continue momentum, you may actually miss a lot of these things that are falling down because law of averages. And we made it home. There was a lot of small little pea-sized hails with a couple of quarters in there as well. And looking at my vehicle today, I've got a few extra dents on my roof of my vehicle. But I'm okay with that. We're okay. When I was doing 80 miles an hour through Niagara Falls, I knew there was something wrong. Why are these people standing still? What the hell? It's 120. Oh yeah. Yeah, that's why when we in Victoria, there's a couple of spots that actually show, remember you're in kilometers, not miles per hour, because we're surrounded by a few places like the states. Washington State is near us and whatnot. So you actually have those signs saying, remember it's kilometers, not miles. Uh, for that very reason. No, I couldn't get the mentality behind that, and that just pissed me off. And I'm very, like I said, I'm very glad my wife took that picture because, yeah, we she posted it to social media, and one of the major people around here, so influencers or social media gurus in the city, retweeted her tweet because, yeah, it was stupid. It was absolutely asinine why these people were doing this, and I just wanted to get home. I was inside a vehicle and I wanted to get home. If there's any damage that happened to my windshield, I would have to pull over immediately. And I was trying to make sure that I can get to a spot where I can pull over immediately and keep everyone else around me safe because of the fact that not only I have to be concerned about myself, but everyone else around me. Not like these dumbasses that decided to have these me first mentalities and stop under a bridge. Stop that. Absolutely stop that. Yeah, I was mad. I'm still mad. But I'm home. I don't have any dents in my head because I made it home okay. We stayed in our vehicle for a bit while it hailed a little bit outside our house, and everything was hunky dory. So, immediately and safely. Yep. it I just that's the thing. Immediately and safely. Like that if you're doing it safely, you're not causing any issues around you. You're helping yourself and the people around you. Just not this shit. Because I was coming off of this off ramp and everybody in front of me was stopped. But I was coming off this off ramp to speed up to catch the cars beside me, behind me, coming up to this bridge, and I had to catch up to the speed. So, I think I have a few vents in my head, but those are chair shots. Uh, Backyard wrestling? Bents. Ben, yeah, okay. Fair enough. I couldn't understand it. I really couldn't understand, and I had just had to share that. So, however, I have been on here for an hour and a half. I really thank you, Paul, for sticking around. I think there's been other people that have been around as well. Um, it's been a long day. Dense, goddamn autocorrect. Dense. Fence. Mince. No, that doesn't work. I do have a few things I have to get done. There will be some stuff. Yep, backyard wrestling indeed. How did I know? My homemade ring was not made with padded corners. It was made with barbed wire. Yes. And my water bottle was filled with vodka. Jawohl. Um. So from there, I in turn, I really hope that Parallel 49 does really well. I really hope that these Calgary drivers learn to fucking drive. And I really hope everybody has a wonderful day because I'm going to go outside and enjoy the 20 degrees that we have out here right now with no severe thunderstorm watches yet or warnings or anything else like that. I will be back around again because lots of barbed wire. Yes. Mick Foley at his finest with lots of barbed. Him and Terry Funk. Um, I really hope that everyone has a good time. I really hope everyone is staying safe out there. We've got a lot coming up, and maybe, just maybe, I might try to cover to see what's going on over another live broadcast next week. But what's going on with this whole pandemic situation and how everyone is holding up? Because we're all having issues, including myself. Um, I'm having a very hard time understanding that I'm not allowed to go on vacation to BC because of the fact that we're trying to stay safe. But until next time, folks, that is for another time. There will be more reviews coming out, and I do have some things that I'm going to be working on as well. I need to try to get my ass going on it because, honestly, I got a few things happening in my life that I need to change up, and this YouTube channel needs to work on some things, and I'm going to be working on that. Until next time, folks, I am PK saying cheers. Enjoying my Tim Hortons tea still, and it's colder than a motherfucker, but I like cold tea. I don't mind it at all. We'll see you real soon. Thanks again for joining, and I'm just going to stop here for a second just to look just because I'm delayed and go from there.